The question of what happens to a Christian who chose to end their own life is both complex and sensitive, and it needs to be approached with care. But I will say, for those looking for an answer in the Bible, that the Bible does not provide a direct answer to this specific question, but there are several principles that can guide our understanding. So let's start with what the Bible actually says about someone taking their own life. So there are several biblical accounts of individuals taking their own lives. Although the Bible does not explicitly discuss, like I said, there are several instances where individuals in the Bible do take their own lives. These accounts, however, are mostly descriptive, and they do not offer direct theological or moral commentary on the act itself. For example, some of the accounts of people taking their own lives in the Bible includes King Saul, as recorded in 1 Samuel 31:4, Saul's armor bearer, which is in 1 Samuel 31:5, Ahithophel, 2 Samuel 17:23, Zimri, 1 Kings 16:18, and Judas Iscariot in Matthew 27:5. But do keep in mind, like I said, that all of these accounts are presented as part of the narrative without explicit moral judgment on the act of them taking their own lives. The Bible is clear on the value of life. I think it's important to remind ourselves that the Bible strongly affirms the value and sanctity of human life. Life is depicted as a sacred gift from God, as explained in Genesis 1:27 and also in Psalms 139:13-16. This underlying principle is often the basis for Christian views on the sanctity of life and the inherent worth of each individual. The Bible's teachings on suffering and hope. While the Bible doesn't address the act of taking someone's life, it does contain numerous passages about suffering, despair, and maintaining hope in difficult times. Many Psalms, for example, express deep anguish, but ultimately reaffirm trust in God's deliverance and mercy. For example, I recommend reading Psalm 42 and Psalm 130, God's compassion and forgiveness. Let us not forget that the overarching message of the Bible highlights God's compassion, mercy, and capacity for forgiveness. This leads many Christians to emphasize God's understanding and mercy in the face of human suffering. So do Christians who take their own life go to hell? This is a question I see asked a lot, so I do want to address it. The belief that all Christians who end their own lives go to hell is held by the Roman Catholic Church, among others, but nothing in the Bible supports this. Generally speaking, many Christian teachings emphasize that salvation is based on faith in Jesus Christ, rather than an individual's actions. The vastness of God's grace and forgiveness is a central theme throughout the Bible, with the understanding that no sin is too great to be forgiven, even the sin of taking one's life. I think modern perspectives on mental health also play a role in shaping the Christian response, acknowledging that mental illness can impart judgment and influence decisions. The Christian approach focuses on compassion and pastoral care, recognizing God's love and mercy. I think it's fair to say that ultimately, the final judgment about the eternal destiny of individuals, including those who have taken their own lives, rests with God, whose understanding and compassion are perfect and beyond human comprehension.